So this week's hot new product comes courtesy of Liquimoly. It's a huge box of stuff. I haven't really had a chance to dig into too much of this yet, so I'm just gonna get it out of the box and we can get started. All right, so obviously a lot of stuff. I think this is full of Liquimoly swag, I assume. Liquimoly drink cozies, toques, sweet microfiber. Definitely need a couple of these. Look how friggin' cool. More of these, a lot more of these. What? That is so cool, hold up. Okay, so they sent us a lot of swag. Thanks a lot, Liquimoly. This was arranged by our friends Jason and Franz at Liquimoly here. And this is kind of part of something we were talking about at SEMA. So in the last episode, you may have seen the Liquimoly boot tour, and they were kind of emphasizing that they're not just for Euros. Everyone knows Liquimoly already for Euro stuff, and you probably know them through us because they're the proud sponsor of Tuna Battlegrounds and the Tuna Battlegrounds Championship and the Tuna Battlegrounds Playoffs. I can't do this anymore, these are really warm. I'm gonna take these off. It's also gonna be really hard to play with the products. But part of that conversation we were having, like I mentioned at SEMA, was that they are also really good for Japanese stuff, American stuff. They want the world to know that they're not just for Euros. They are world-class, top-tier oil brand, and they're useful for everything. So my friend Jason was telling me that I should be using Liquimoly in my 240, and I am stubborn. I've been running my SR20 with like semi-synthetic oil from an unnamed competitor for a long time, and I've always had hesitations about switching to full synthetic, knowing that, you know, maybe the engine's taken on some of the properties of the oil it's been using, some of the buildup is maybe what's holding some things together. But they've assured me that there's a lot of good ways to go about making sure you can make a transition, especially with an old engine, really smoothly. So we're gonna talk about that. First of all, the main thing is the oil that's going to be going in. This is Liquimoly's SAE 5W40. I use a 40 weight in my SR20. This is exactly what I've been looking for, and it's a fully synthetic, so it's gonna be a step up from my semi-synthetic oil that I've been using. The lower number, 5W, is your oil's viscosity at a cold temperature, and the higher number is your oil's viscosity at running temperature. So unlike most of your commuter cars, which will have a blank W30, which is the medium running weight, I use a 40 for my old SR20, so it's a little thicker, a little safer on some of the old Japanese components. They also wanted to send us stuff for my daily, so because I'm a little bit skeptical and I don't want to just throw all this stuff into my SR20, despite the fact that it's all rated and perfectly fine and will be good, I am a skeptic on this kind of thing, so Jason assured me that they'll send me a little bit of everything. That's why there's 2 of everything, because we're going to test run it on my daily driver first, and when that inevitably works really well, we're going to graduate and do it to the 240 as well. So I've got some oil here for my daily driver. This is among their newer stuff. This is the Special Tech 5W30, made for Asia and America, and you can see on it, it's got all of the certifications. So here in North America, they use API, which is like the lowest grade, but there is so many more standards. I think some of these actually go over them. Yeah, the ACEA, that's European standards. So this will far exceed anything from your OEM manufacturer. Any of their demands far exceeded, easily better than all those. They take great pride in what they're putting together. They have chemists and things like that. But that leads me to the additives. This is the more interesting stuff, if you will. Let me see what I've got here first. All right, so we'll start with the fuel system ones. So you've got the Proline gasoline system cleaner, and similarly, the Jectron fuel injection cleaner. So these are both kind of doing the same thing. This is going to be a much more heavy duty clean. So you're gonna dump this into your gas tank, especially for cars with old metal tanks, like my 240, for example. The tank is probably full of contaminants and rust and gross things like that, especially with old fuel. If you're not putting fuel stabilizer in every year, or if you're just getting bad fuel, this is gonna build up contaminants in your gas tank and your fuel system. So you're gonna dump this into the gas tank and run it, and it's gonna clear out all of that junk. It's gonna go all the way from your tank, through your injectors, through your engine, and kind of clean out everything along the way, including cleaning out your combustion chamber. So any of the buildup along the way that dirty fuel has left behind, this is gonna work on. And then after doing that, your injectors may start to struggle because it's got all the contaminants pushed up to that point. So you're gonna wanna run this. This is specifically made to clear out your injectors and run them at full capacity, or restore them to their full duty cycle and full injection capacity. Also, just really good to run yourself every now and then. If you've started with these, so if you have a brand new engine and you've been using something like this, the heavy duty cleaner likely isn't going to be required ever, as long as you stay up to date with these, keeping your fuel system clean. These are the two for your fuel system. Going a step further, this is the engine flush. So I talked about switching from a semi-synthetic with its own properties into a synthetic oil. This is going to be the helping hand or the stepping stone kind of in between. So before I make the oil change, I'm going to dump this into my old oil and let the car run for a little bit of time. I think 10 to 15 minutes. Let me double check that. Yeah, running for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. This is basically designed to quickly and safely remove deposits and little pieces and buildup from the old oil. It'll wipe the properties of that old oil out of the components that it's going to be running over. And then I drain this as I would with my normal oil that's already going to be in there. So I think because there's 500 mil in here, I'm going to take a tiny bit out of my old oil, throw this sucker in, run the engine, and then by the time I drain it, it's going to remove all of the contaminants. When you're doing an oil change, you're not getting everything out. You'll drain the oil, but there's lots of contaminants that don't make it down to the drain plug or didn't get caught by your filter and things like that. This is going to take care of all of that. Really excited to see what the junk that comes out of my car looks like. Might be a wake-up call. Lastly, we've got this guy, motor oil saver. Now, this isn't something you want to do all the time. You want to do this maybe once a year, once every 2 years, etc., etc. This is mainly for the seals and the plastic seals, the rubber seals and things that are inside your gas and diesel engines. So it's called the motor oil saver. Advertises a couple things: reduce oil consumption, it may stop external leaks or minimize external leaks, dampen engine noise, but the main thing is to replenish and refurbish your seals. So if you have a very old engine, like an SR20, your rear mains and your seals that are coming in contact with the oil every day, they may have started to dry out and they kind of turn into a plastic. It gets much harder, much less supple, you're losing the seal, and it's becoming brittle and breaking down. This is going to refurbish and revitalize those rubber and plastic seals. So it's a nice touch, especially if you're going to do all of this to revamp your internals and your fluid systems. You might as well make sure the seals associated with them are in good shape. Kind of a similar thing, you just want to add it, run it, and you're good to go. This is a nice product from Liqui Moly. They are the leader in additives for a reason. Sorry, whose water was this? I just totally drank your water. Will I gain any extra horsepower in the cars? Pretty unlikely, but it is possible. It would be in the single digits, so it's nothing to write home about. It's not like we're going to test the horsepower anyway, but the car will run so much better. Any engine that you treat with this, especially older engines, is going to run a lot better. Some people have reported small gains in horsepower simply because it's cleaning hardened valves and contamination that's kind of reducing your internal efficiency, so that's really cool. So all in, this is 2 complete system treatments for both fuel and oil on 2 vehicles, which I'm really excited to get into. Like we said before, we're going to do it on the daily, and then when it inevitably works, we're going to do it on the SR20, hopefully revitalize and increase the efficiency of the engine overall, maybe get some performance out of it. I know some of these will clean hardened stuff on your valves and things like that. We're not going to be measuring any performance gains. It would be like single digits. Really appreciate Liqui Moly for sending such an awesome package, including all this super cool swag. And we also appreciate them for being the presenting sponsor of Season 12 of Tuner Battlegrounds Championship once again. So welcome back on board, Liqui Moly. Happy to have you. Also, if you want to check out any of these products or check out some of the hundreds of products that Liqui Moly offers, they've got things for gas engines, diesel engines, all of your fluid systems, and everything in between. You want to head over to liquimoly.com. That's liqui-moly.com, and you can check out all of this stuff and more at their website. Thanks, guys.